Hello and welcome to Transfermarkt TV. I'm Ben Littlemore and I'm joined by Manuel Veth. It was the MLS Market Value update this week. We've seen a lot of market value updates this month and it was a big one. And the main headline from it was the great Lionel Messi, who saw his market value fall to 30 million euros, the lowest it's been since 2006. Manuel, can you tell us more about why he went down and why that was his new market value?
Well, it's Father Time has struck here. At the end of the day, it's really hard to justify keeping him at 35 million euros, considering that he's 36 now, right? He's getting on in age. His playing time is getting reduced because of injuries. He's missed the last 3 MLS games. He entered MLS in the best possible way by leading Inter Miami to a Leagues Cup title. This Leagues Cup is, of course, the competition between MLS and Liga MX, the big league in Mexico, where they were an unlikely team to win it because they were at the time the worst team in MLS, right? And he led Inter Miami to that title. What followed on that, though, was a very mediocre performances in Major League Soccer as well, right? So it's really difficult then to keep him at 35 million euros with all of that in mind. Having said that, the 5 million downgrade still makes him the most valuable over 34-year-old by a significant margin. He's 15 million euros ahead of Robert Lewandowski, who's the second most valuable player in that category. So, it's a downgrade, but it's still, Lionel Messi still is above everyone in this category.
And of course, Lionel Messi is he's a different to any other player in the terms of the brand he brings and everything that comes with Messi off the pitch. Can you just tell us how that also impacted Messi's market value?
Yeah, and this is why we're so cautious downgrading him, right? Because I'm pretty sure that if Lionel Messi hits the market today, there would be countless teams all over the world that would say, yeah, we're happy to pay whatever to have him, because there's these soft factors. And the one number that I always come back to is Inter Miami's valuation as a club. This is not our squad market valuation. That's different, right? That's just players. But everything, the entire package, what the club is worth, went from, and this is a Sportico number, so I want to quote them, went from something like $583 million to over $1 billion since he's arrived. So that's a 75% increase, right, in what the entire club is worth. And that is so hard to ignore. We look at what Apple TV, what their subscription numbers have been since Lionel Messi arrived in MLS, right? He's filling every single stadium that he's going to, even though people know he might not be playing. That's incredible for the league. I mean, there's a game later this month at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City, right? Home of the Kansas City Chiefs, the Super Bowl winner, and Sporting Kansas City have decided to move the game to that stadium that holds over 75,000 seats because Inter Miami is coming to town, right? So that is so hard to quantify in terms of value. And when you look at that is also flows into our market value evaluations, right? So we have to say, yes, okay, he's getting on in age. He's not always playing, but he's filling stadiums. He's increasing Apple TV subscriptions. And also in terms of the overall valuation of the club he's playing for, that has also skyrocketed. And so these are the soft factors that, of course, play a significant role in our thinking here.
Yeah, you've made some great points there about sort of the brand that comes with him and the effect he's had on Inter Miami. I just wondered as well, what effect has he had? You're a man in North America, right? What effect has he had on football or soccer, as you call it, which I hate, in general over in the USA? Like, what impact has it made? Have you seen a bigger interest in football since Messi's gone?
Oh, I just see kids running around. So I live in Canada. There's 2 jerseys that you see a lot. That's Alphonso Davies, right, with Bayern Munich, and you see Ronaldo jerseys and Lionel Messi jerseys, no matter who their team is. I have noticed not that many Cristiano Ronaldo jerseys for his new Saudi team. You see a few, but you see a lot of pink jerseys with kids, right? And that's the Inter Miami jerseys, and that tells you a lot, right? It's very, very visible. It's the same when I go down to the States to visit the different MLS markets. It's the same thing. You see the impact there. I think, he does bring a lot of people who maybe not were soccer fans or football fans, but not necessarily watch MLS. And that's been a big problem for MLS in the past, that soccer is the fastest growing sport in North America, period. But MLS not necessarily has been able to piggyback onto that, right? It's the Premier League, it's Liga MX, and then the other European leagues that getting watched the most, and Champions League, of course, as well. And I think Lionel Messi has brought a ton of attention to that, because it's not just normal people who are watching. You go to your average Inter Miami game now, and there will be all the big stars there, right? And that's how sports in North America works. It's not the same in Europe. You want eyeballs on your sport, you have to have the big names come and watch. Why? Like, one of the biggest brands in MLS is LAFC. LAFC is a big brand because Will Ferrell owns the team, right? Because he's at every single game. He hangs out with the fans. He's there. He brings all his Hollywood friends. So it works. Every single game is sold out. And Lionel Messi does that at Inter Miami. And that's, I think, a big game changer here.
It's very interesting. In terms of on the pitch, do you think, how would you assess the chances of Messi leading Inter Miami to MLS glory this season? And how much fire do you think he's still got in his belly to win things with that club?
I think the addition of Luis Suarez helps here. Luis Suarez, of course, arrived after being the best player in Brazil. The issue with Suarez, the same as with Messi, is injuries. And I think that's really one factor here that you have to keep in mind. MLS isn't a top 4 European league, but it is probably just as hard as a top 4 European league because of the travel. Travel is extremely difficult, A team that I cover, for example, here, the Vancouver Whitecaps, or another team in Canada, to Toronto. You have games here where the Whitecaps a couple of years ago, they played in Colorado at -5 degrees Celsius in a snowstorm, and then literally the next game was down in Houston at 25 to 30 degrees. That's hard. It's really difficult on the body. You have time zones. That is really difficult to compensate. And back then, a lot of it, they had to fly commercial. Now MLS teams fly charter. But still, that is immensely harder than, let's say, Cristiano Ronaldo playing in Saudi Arabia, where travel is a lot shorter. Or in general in Europe, where, when you play Bayern against Arsenal, which is an away trip, that's a 2-hour flight. That's nothing, right? And I think that makes this extremely difficult. And it also, at the end of the day, to win MLS Cup, it's a single game knockout competition, right? A lot can happen in a final or in a semi-final. Of course, the earlier rounds are home and away, but it's so hard to say, Ben. I mean, at the end of the day, they will need a lot of luck to get there.
Yeah. And just finally, you mentioned Luis Suarez there. Messi's obviously, he's got the band back together in Miami. So we've seen Luis Suarez, Sergio Busquets and Jordi Alba all join Messi in Miami. I just wondered how those 3 players were also affected in this week's MLS Market Value update.
Yeah, Busquets went down. Jordi Alba went down. We left Suarez for now. But, obviously also time and age is playing a big role here. But it's interesting that you name those older players. We also did the U21 piece on Transfermarkt, right, which is the most valuable U21 players in MLS. Inter Miami, it's 3 of them there, right, including Federico Redondo, the big Argentine at Holland, where everyone thought he was going to Europe. No, he went into Miami first. So, that's maybe the flip side of this. They have a lot of aging stars, but they also have some of the most exciting young players at the same time, which they probably wouldn't have gotten without Messi being there and Suarez and so on. But yes, some of the older players have gone down in the evaluation, and it's the same then with Messi. It's just age. Age is a big factor in our market value evaluation.
Of course. Thank you very much, Manuel. And don't forget, there's a big article on Lionel Messi and his market value development throughout his career on the Transfermarkt website. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for listening.